Hi there, and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Jack Show, where I, Dr. Jack Bielitz, chiropractor in Omaha, Nebraska, am here to answer the questions that you ask. Okay, today we are going to talk about a little tiny particle called a telomere. And one of my patients came in to ask me about them today. So let's understand what they are first before we get into understanding what they do. Inside, if you remember back from your high school anatomy class, we have cells in our body. And inside the cell, there's a little organelle called a nucleus. And inside the nucleus are chromosomes. And if you remember, the chromosomes are the things that kind of decide what you look like, how you feel, all that stuff. The chromosomes are made of little tiny strands called DNA. And these DNA are like twisted together little pieces that are held together at the ends by little caps called telomeres. And every time your cell divides, the telomeres get a little bit shorter. And if they become too short or they disappear, the DNA will start to unravel. Now, what scientists have done is they've associated telomere length with certain diseases. Like, for instance, if you don't have your telomeres, there's a very close relationship with Alzheimer's. That's just one example. There's a lot of different diseases. And also length of your life, because if your DNA starts to unravel, your body can't function. So what I found was a study that looked at a bunch of studies, which is kind of cool because instead of just doing a study on, let's say, 500 people or 1,000 people, which admittedly is a pretty big study, this one study looked at 37,000 people because it actually looked at like 38 different studies. So it's kind of cool. And what they were looking at is whether there was a relationship between telomere length and depression. And they absolutely found a direct correlation. Now, one thing they did not tell us was whether or not the length of the telomere was responsible for depression, or whether depression was responsible for shortening the telomere, or there's a third possibility, maybe some outside factor affected both of them. But regardless, if you want to avoid depression in your later years, I might suggest that you start really doing things now to allow those telomeres to stay as long as possible. Now, some of the things that you can do to keep them there is to eat a good diet, to get enough sleep. You want to have at least 6 hours. That's not quite enough, but a minimum of 6 hours. But you don't want to have more than 9 because there was a research article that we came across just a couple of weeks ago that said too much sleep can be too much. Also, fish oil has been shown to have a very direct impact on the length of the telomeres. In fact, somebody was just in the office today asking about fish oil and some of its benefits. Well, here's one, and I gotta admit, I knew about this, but I completely forgot about it. So taking a fish oil supplement can really slow down the aging process by allowing those telomeres to stay longer. And it'll also decrease your chances of depression as you get older. So that right there is kind of the end of this story. Hopefully you've learned a lot. If you have any extra questions, give the office a call at 402-333-4848. If you have some questions that you would like us to research and look up the answers to, that's what I love doing. Call the office. Ask your question. We'll get to the bottom of it. If you'd rather email it, it's askdrjackb, that's B-E-E, @gmail.com. Or you can just walk into the office and ask me in person. That's where I like really a lot, just to talk to people in person. So have a very happy and healthy day, and I'll see you in the next episode.